Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Kyuuyaku Megami Tensei. Previously, we have been attempting to descend down the Tower of Daedalus, and we've made pretty good progress in that regard, I think. We've been taken out a couple of times by various random encounters, but I feel like that's kind of inevitable in this game. Just something that's bound to happen, given its difficulty. But nothing really too much to fret over there. We don't have much to lose, because all we really can lose is, each time we die and we want to spawn back at the tower instead of reloading to save, we lose half of our cash. But at this point in the game, it's not like we really got all that much cash to lose that we can't make up for later on just by, exploring more and fighting more enemies. So, yeah, no real harm done every time we die, honestly. Doing a little demon negotiation. And I was hoping that was going to be enough, but he wanted more, and I agreed to give him more. Didn't actually have more. Fun fact, when you promise someone to give them money, and they don't actually have it, they tend not to like that. Who knew? I actually think it'd be kind of neat if, I don't know, maybe this does exist in another Mega 10 game, but it'd be kind of fun if, there was a certain demon type or something where you tried being like, oh, hey, I want to give you 100 Maka or whatever, and you don't actually have it, and they're like, oh, you tried to pull a fast one on me, I like that, I respect that, or something like that, more like con artisty demons are like, oh, I actually dig that a lot, I want to roll with you, and they agree. I don't know, that might be like a thing that occurs in one of the games, and I've just never noticed it, or I don't remember it, but that'd be fun. But yeah, one thing that's really nice about knowing all of the locations of the stairways after you go through these and you have the map filled out is, the best way to beeline to get to the next floor. It's actually pretty neat. And yeah, as I've previously stated, I'm going to try my best to show off the map. Or at least, the various maps of the dungeon as best as I can, just so y'all can refer back to it if you need to in your own playthrough if you're playing along with me. Which I've gotten some messages saying that, some people have started up replays or maybe finally got around to playing this game for the first time because I'm going through it and, they feel like they're in the mood, or now that they have this as a resource to use to play along with, they dig it. Oh, big mood, that's fair. Bye-bye, fucking green crab man. But yeah, no, I do always really like it because, one of the reasons I do these playthroughs is because I really do like highlighting these games and encouraging people to try them out. I know there's a lot of people that use these as substitute for playing themselves, and that's totally valid too. And I definitely understand watching a Let's Play of a game instead of actually playing it. I do that frequently, to be honest with you. Just for stuff that I know I'm not going to have much interest in actually playing myself, but I'm kind of interested in just seeing what it plays like, or kind of how things go down in the story or whatever. But yeah, I'm happy if you're playing along, and I'll try to keep updating frequently so that, there's no long, awkward depression gaps like there was with my SMT1 Let's Play, but I don't know, I probably shouldn't talk too much about that sort of stuff, in the now, because years later, when this whole thing is done, and people are, watching it, they're gonna be like, who gives a shit, everything's done, I know, this isn't relevant to me, so trying to make this as timeless as I can. I do recommend you get this demon, because he is a pretty good physical attacker. And I know I've referenced before that jewels are kind of a good thing to have around just because they are the one healing item in the game and they're full heals, but also to feel free to sell them at shops if you need the cash, which I think I did to get some equipment. And, that's fine too, but honestly it is nice just having them around on hand too, because they're kind of like life stones in the other Mega 10 games where a lot of demons will ask for them in negotiation, so it's just nice to have a stock of them around. And we're fighting Nekomata here. Fortunately, don't believe Nekomata in this game can charm you, like in a lot of other games, so we're just gonna go ahead and kick her ass. Nekomatas are fast though, that's for sure. They'll get some slashes in before you manage to take them down. But that's all good. Nekomata, actually, I feel like is a demon, especially in the early game here, shows up a lot in fusion tables, so, you know, it's nice to recruit one, but also, if you can't get one that way, it's very easy just to fuse one, too, with the other demons that are around here. But yeah, let's continue on exploring this here, you know, second floor. Let's see if we can recruit this cancer. Probably not, because we don't got enough cash. Yeah, you can do all this stuff to kinda interact with them, but then when it comes down to it, yeah. If you can't pay up, they don't give a shit. Harsh life lesson. But yeah. These things can hit fairly hard. They're not the worst thing in the world, but I think they're definitely kind of down lower here for a reason. Yeah, they're doing pretty decentish damage, mostly just because they're in a group, though. Kind of one thing I feel like a lot of RPGs have, especially early game, is sometimes just stat-wise you just have so little to work with in terms of you know, how hard enemies can be or what tools they can utilize against the player, so sometimes they're just kind of all a little bit generic, and it takes until a little bit later on in the game where random encounters start to truly feel differentiated. But I mean, so far I feel like this game's done pretty well with that, even with its limited amount of enemies. Like, you know, you got the hard-hitting orcs, you got those will-o-wisps that attack in, you know, huge numbers and are just kind of obnoxious. Leveling up our strength there. And, you know, increase some of that intellect in Yumiko. Oh, actually, I guess not. I lied. Actually, yeah, I think that's the thing I'm focusing on a bit in this first dungeon, is I actually do want to get her strength up a little bit, just because later on in the game I have a hard time justifying putting levels in that for her. So I'm gonna do it now and just get it out of the way and then focus on her main stat, which is her intellect. Or as I like to call it, her Rick and Morty stat. Once again, another large, spacious room that really doesn't need to be there, but, you know, it's fine. Kinda led to nothing either. But that's kinda how mazes go. I don't think I've even talked about this fucking sprite yet, but, like, that man, he shows up throughout the game. Or just, like, you know, that sprite for the NPC. They're not all the same person, but God, it just looks ridiculous. Yeah, the second floor, as you can tell, is quite big. At least I believe it's bigger than the other floors so far. It might just be me thinking too hard about it. It's full moon time. Let's see if I try to accidentally negotiate with the demon when the full moon happens. That was a will-o-wisp, so we couldn't negotiate anyways. Can't negotiate with foul enemies. They're too smelly. You just don't want them in the party. Oh yeah, I guess it's not as big as I thought it was. First floor is definitely large, though. That I know I'm not mistaken about. But yeah, this second floor is about the same size. Actually, it's the exact same size as all the other ones so far. And in case you're wondering, no, not every dungeon in this game is just going to be a series of boxes like this. This is just kind of getting you started out and used to the idea of kind of the whole dungeon exploration thing, I feel. They start you out pretty easy, and then they kind of spice up the layouts later on. Always nice to have vitality. This game, I think, does the thing that a lot of other games do, where Nakajima will gain more vitality just on principle than, or I guess I should word that differently. He'll gain more HP every time you level up vitality than Yumiko will if you level up her vitality. Like, just as a base thing, Nakajima benefits more from that and has more health. I feel like that's like a balancing thing that they've done just to make sure that Yumiko isn't too powerful, and there's like some degree of weakness there to counterbalance her having magic. I guess kind of, you know, playing in that old cliche of the magic-using woman and the strength-using dude that a lot of old RPGs go with. There's a little bit of a dungeon we left unexplored on the side there. Probably should have grabbed that first thing, but truth of the matter is I'm actually not using maps, at least yet, of any of the dungeons in this game. I'm just kind of playing off of memory, and I have a pretty good idea of where to go because I've played through this game recently. So yeah, this is my third playthrough. As you can probably tell, I'm really trying to beef up my party a bit. And you might be wondering why I'm starting to care about that now versus earlier in the dungeon. And your answer will be given before this video ends. So yeah, it's just a treasure chest. Fair bit of money inside, so that's good. Kinda chump change. Actually, I feel like most treasure chests in this game are actually not super rewarding. And here, like I think I've referenced before, the fusion table in this game is just so not great, in the sense that there's just so few demons to possibly fuse, that we can't even really fuse anything of note yet, just because everything's just too high level. So that kind of sucks, but, you know, we'll roll with what we have. So we got a full party going on already. And as you can see, not too terrible of a magnetite drain. Losing 2 for every step. Not too bad when we have over 1,000 magnetite at this point, so. And of course, with every victory, we're going to be gaining more of that. I guess one thing that is worth noting is that, in the long run, having more party members like that is also going to be a drain on your Maka, just because every time you need to go to heal, you know, that's just more members to heal up. And we're gonna say goodbye to our frog friend so that we can get this gnome in here, who is slightly better. He's got Zan. That's something to shake a stick at. And I think it goes without saying, but these kaiju enemy types are also not recruitable. They're just mindless beasts. I actually really, speaking of kaiju, I've been meaning to check out more Godzilla stuff as of late. I've kind of gotten into the mood because, I don't know, for all my childhood and like my teenage years and even going into my adult life, I kind of, well, I don't know, let me rephrase that. Childhood and most of my teenage years, I was like, I don't really like big monster movies. I think they're kind of, you know, dumb or whatever. And then I actually, like, sat down to watch Gojira proper, the original Godzilla movie, subtitled and all that, not, like, dubbed or edited for American release or whatever. And, you know, I think it goes without saying that's a fucking cinema classic. Fantastic movie. And, then I watched Shin Godzilla just because, you know, Anno's name was attached and haha, Evangelion, you know, all that sort of thing. And Shin Godzilla is also just a wonderful movie. And, you know, I think I have it in me now to check out a little bit of the sillier older movies that they have that, you know, just like the straight up like Godzilla versus Mothra and, you know, all that stuff or whatever, and, you know, maybe give them more of a chance than my dismissiveness from way back in the day. I think I'm in the mood for that. It's kind of weird, but also when I think of, like, Godzilla, I think about the time that, like, there's this person who left, like, an essay-length, like, comment on one of my videos talking about how, like, I was dumb for not knowing enough TV tropes when talking about SMT or something? I think it was on a random Cathedral of Shadows episode, actually. And, like, I think that was the first person, or one of the first few people I ever blocked from, like, commenting on my channel, because they wrote this, like, massive essay using a lot of very not appropriate language. It's kind of like a not safe for humanity type post about how much they thought we were stupid and that we weren't, you know, well educated enough in TV tropes. And then I remember checking their page, just being like, what the fuck is this person, like, even about? And, like, they just made, like, reviews of Godzilla movies, and I was like, damn, I can't believe I just got owned by a Godzilla fan. Good times. It's kind of weird how sometimes those comments stick with ya. It's like, I shouldn't care what random Godzilla person thinks about me, or my knowledge of TV tropes. But I do. I'm trying to fit in a TV tropes pun, but I guess I'm just proving that person's point that I just don't know enough TV tropes to even make a pun. Oh no. But yeah, we have this Cerberus, who, as you can tell, very good. Very good demon, especially this early on in the game. And you know, if you're familiar with SMT1, that is kind of a callback to this game, how good Cerberus is. But yeah, it's time to grab the bull by the horns and let's take down this here Minotaur. So if you've been paying attention to the NPCs that have been talking throughout the game so far, you would be aware that the demon world is split up into 6 different sections, each of them ruled over by a tyrant, and the Minotaur being the first of them that we're going to take down. And, you know, the NPCs have been alluding to the fact that the Minotaur is at the end of the Tower of Daedalus. Which I guess, you know, makes sense if you know your Greek mythology and all that, because I'm pretty sure the Minotaur was locked away in, well, I guess specifically, I think it was some weird shit, like, I don't know, Greek mythology is weird. Like, I'm pretty sure Poseidon, like, possessed, or, like, cursed some dude's wife, because he was mad at him, so that the wife would be, like, horny for this one bull, and then she ended up having sex with the bull, and that created the Minotaur, and the king was like, oh shit, fuck this thing, it's gonna kill everyone, and then he commissioned Daedalus to, like, build the labyrinth to make sure that the Minotaur couldn't escape. I think that's how that goes, I could be wrong. But, you know. Yeah, I guess one thing that's just worth noting is, I guess I don't think they ever keep any of the tyrants at the end of the demon worlds, or, you know, demon world sections a secret. The NPCs always kind of allude to who is the top dog around these parts, I guess. But yeah, every tyrant-type enemy that you do fight, so basically the 6 major bosses in the game, one thing that is worth noting is that it is a universal fact that they are always immune to fire-based spells. So don't try to cast, like, you know, like Agi or something, it's just not gonna work, they're gonna take no damage. So one thing that is worth noting is that Cerberus does come with Recarm, and does have enough MP to use it 3 times. But unfortunately, in this game, Recarm only has a 50% chance of actually being a successful revive. So, you know, just keep that in mind as well. But yeah, Cerberus is really fucking good. I actually do really like what they do in SMT1 with allowing you to fuse your dog with a demon to get Cerberus, and also having the Cerberus in that game be a very powerful early party member who also knows a revive spell before, you know, anyone else would. Which I guess even in this game, the fact that Cerberus is so good is a throwback to the actual novels, where Cerberus is actually a partner demon to Nakajima. It's a pretty cute reference. And actually, we're gonna keep our Cerberus around because there's actually a special use for Cerberus, which is kind of exclusive to it. No other demon in the game has like something special tied to them in this game other than Cerberus. So we're gonna show that off and cross that bridge when we get to it. But as for now, we just need to try to survive this fight because, as you can tell, Minotaur hits hard, and I believe all of the tyrant bosses actually do that thing where they attack multiple party members at once with their physical attack. So, you know, if it wasn't obvious already, very important to have a full party when you go into these fights. Just, you know, it's just a good idea. I should be doing a little bit more healing here, but the fact that we got him down to about like 1/4 of his HP got me excited. And as you can see, paid for that dearly. Turns out Nakajima could not handle the Minotaur, and now Yumiko's gonna have to pull through on this one, which is a shame. Yeah, so rest in peace, Nakajima. I guess that experience gap is only going to get wider, but I think we, you know, I think we could have played that one safer, safe to say. And we managed to pull it off. Then there we go. We got six levels with Yumiko that Nakajima's just not gonna get. So, what can you do? Guess he's just gonna need to lift a little bit before before he can get up to Yumiko's level. Whoops. You know, it just kind of happens sometimes. But yeah, we got the Orb of Silence for defeating the Minotaur, and now we can progress to the second part of the Demon World. But before we do that, safe to say that we should probably get our ass all the way back to the village of Maikon, or whatever it's called at the top of the tower here, and heal up, because we definitely don't want Nakajima losing out on any more experience and making that gap even more ridiculous, I suppose. But yeah, as you can see, I don't have enough experience to revive those two demons, so just gonna have to leave them dead for now. I think there's kind of something kind of cool about older RPGs. A lot of the times, the only way you can actually revive people is by bringing them to like a special temple or building of some kind. Like Final Fantasy I for the NES was that way. Little known fact about that game, I feel. Just because all the re-releases changed it. But in the original Final Fantasy I, as far as I'm aware, the only way to revive party members for the vast majority of that game until you get late-game spells is actually by bringing your party members to a church. Oh, but yeah, looks like we're out of footage, so I'll catch you next time in part 4 of Let's Play Kyuuyaku Megami Tensei.